should we do the delayed gratification one? I like the sound of that.
Yeah.
Because that's, in all honesty, I did an email. It's probably a few weeks back now, and it was kind of like pictures of me and things that I've like achieved so far in my life that I really care about right now. And it was like a picture of like me and Lainey, and it was like 10 years underneath, and then there was a picture of me squatting a certain amount of weight, and it was like 10 years, and then the point of it was delayed gratification, you know, like how long it's taken me to really acquire things that mean a lot to me today, you know. And I think when it comes to fitness, everybody wants it today, you know. They're not prepared to wait 10 years, you know. They because ultimately it's a lifestyle that you know, if you want to be successful at this, it is a lifestyle change, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah.
But yeah, what about you anyway? Have you got any sort of, obviously, because you've been doing it for longer than me, haven't you? Probably about, well, how long would you say?
I mean, I wouldn't say I've actually kind of like found the way I enjoy training and everything until probably the last maybe 7 years or something like that, 6, 7 years. You know? Before that, I'd flitter in and out of different things.
Right.
But always had a passion for just training and moving my body and playing sports and things. So it never felt like a ball ache to go and be active and things. Obviously, I've struggled with my nutrition massively in the past, and that's obviously dealt with now. Actually, we touched on that when we came in with the cookie. So that's a big thing, and I think that if you nail that down, then that just allows you to then focus in all on so much on the training and like what you want to achieve. Like, again, I talk about this a lot, I post about this, but being in the gym, training, whatever, to get your body able to do more as opposed to forcing it to look a certain way.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
So many people are battling themselves in the gym because of guilt or trying to make up for mistakes they make in their diet. Yeah.
Well, I mean, we were chatting the other day, you know, I was speaking to someone about, you know, at times I go on calls with people and this gets brought up, you know, and like, oh yeah, as you say, battling with themselves in the gym, you know, like, you know, doing multiple cardio workouts, you know, in a day, you know, absolutely killing themselves on the bike or wherever it might be that they're doing in order to try and, you know, kind of feel a certain way in order to kind of get a reward from that, if that makes sense, you know. I've had a conversation with people saying, oh yeah, you know, I do an hour hard on the bike, you know, as fast as I can, so that then I can go and have a cheap meal afterward, you know. And it's the wrong approach, really, because you're just going to burn out that way, you know. And it's something that is really, really important, is having a good perspective on why you do this in the first place, you know, with lifting. And in order for something to become a true lifestyle change for you, you've got to really have a great relationship with this too, you know. And delayed gratification's a massive part of that, you know, understanding that you're not going to have this tomorrow, and that's kind of the point. The point of doing this is because, you know, you're doing it for the process, right? You're doing it for the process of having a better life, being able to say that you can lift a lot of weight, or being able to say that you can move your body in a really good way. We do it for the process. We don't do it for the outcome.
That's the thing, because if you could just go and buy it and you just get it, you just wouldn't value it as much. I think that people, you stick to it and you adhere to it because you know what goes into it to achieve a certain result. And that's what improves your adherence, I think, in the long term.
Right.
Because if you just go and buy it, then it doesn't mean as much, does it? If anyone could go and get it,
for sure.
But you have to like literally work your ass off, don't you?
Well, and this is it with all the technology and stuff coming out today. Like, there's a lot of things that you can get now really quick. You know, like really quick with AI and stuff like that. You'll never be able to get this quick.
No.
Ever. Well, from what I'm aware right now, I don't think you'll ever be able to press a button on your body and all of a sudden become super jacked and strong, you know, or be able to be very fit. ultimately, you've got to work really hard at this for a long time to be able to reap the rewards from that, you know, and anybody that's telling you anything else is just lying to you. Now, and that's why we talked about in the last episodes the whole 8-week stuff I'm not a massive fan of, because it doesn't really set their expectation for people, you know, and delayed gratification is such a interesting one, because people are more than happy to do that with their work. They're more than happy to do that for the promotion. You know, they're more than happy to do that for anything really, apart from when it comes to the gym, they just want, nah, I want it now.
Fitness-related goals, yeah.
You know, I want it now.
And the fear of, I think as well, fear of being shit at something.
Right, okay.
You know, I think that's what stops some people as well, is the fear of it being shit, feeling shit. And yeah, that's not acceptable.
In what way?
Well, just like I've experienced it myself lots. Like if you do something new, sometimes it feels very uncomfortable. You might feel shit at it, and you see someone else who looks, you know, they're way ahead of you, and you just think that's like not unachievable, but it's like, oh, is it worth the effort?
So you're saying that they yeah, that's it. So you're saying that they look at someone else and they think, oh yeah, is because I'm not there yet, there's no point.
Yeah, oh, that person's been doing this for years, and that person is like, you know, whatever. They're strong, they're fit, they're in shape, and they've been doing it for years, and you know, they work out this many times a week. It's you know, it's almost unachievable. There's no point. It's just like, no, be willing to accept that to begin with is probably going to feel a bit shit.
Right.
But like anything new that you do is going to feel uncomfortable and shit.
And it's your own story as well, you know, like everybody's got their own unique journey that's inspirational in different ways, you know. I talk about this to a number of my clients who say, oh, do you know what? I wish I started 20 years ago, you know, knowing what I know now. Well, so yeah, I understand why you'd feel that way, of course, but ultimately you've now got this story that that you can tell to other people that probably, you know, for example, might inspire them more than my own story. You know, like, yeah, I've been doing this since I was 13 or 14, and it's basically been baked into me since I was really young. But ultimately, you know, I think personally it's just as if not even more inspirational saying, I actually picked this up when I was in my 50s, not knowing how to lift before or anything like that, and starting, you know, later in life. I think that's incredible, you know, that it takes a lot of courage to be able to do something like that when you're much older,
yeah,
you know.
100%.
And so you've got your own story to tell, you know, and I think you're right. There's many people out there that think, oh, it's too late, or, you know, I'm just not going to start because, as you said, I'm going to be shit at it, or, well, no, it's like that's, you're getting in your own way there, you know, and you need to try and navigate that and get started. You know, we all start from somewhere, ultimately, all of us. And, yeah, you know, you shouldn't let someone else's journey prevent you from living your own, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, the delayed gratification thing, I think, is interesting with nutrition as well. I want to touch on that because we were talking about, because you just bought me a cookie kindly.
Yeah.
Said it's a power play.
Feeder, aren't I?
Yeah, you're a feeder, yeah. It's like you're giving me food now just to fatten me up.
Well, I've got, you know, I'm just thinking I've got to stand next to you on your wedding day, so I need to look better, don't I?
Yeah, you want to make me look boxy in my suit and my tux here, just short and boxy.
I'll, you know, maybe we'll wear long coats on the day on a summertime, isn't it? That won't work.
You said the long coat doesn't me look 4'3".
The long coat doesn't work. Yeah. What did you say you look? Was it penguin like?
Yeah, I look like the penguin, basically. I cannot for the life of me. I wish I could pull off a trench coat or I just can't, mate. I haven't got the shape for it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm short and I'm wide, which is like, yeah, you know, that's the exact shape not to pull off a long coat, you know.
Fitted trousers, though, look good on the quads, isn't it?
Fitted
with the jack quads you got.
Yeah. I'm going to have to get a fit. We have to sort that out, actually, soon. I got to have it tailored. Can't be doing it just on the whim, you know. I'm not one of them that can just like pull up a suit from like Slater's and oh yeah, I'll buy this, it'll work out. No, not me.
On the day you like literally ripping.
When I went to get, I was actually doing a onto a little bit of a dark note. It was for my granddad's funeral. I didn't have a black suit or anything, so we went to Slater's to get one fitted, and fair play, she was really good, the lady helping us, and I came out the changing rooms and then she just went, "Oh wow."
Because she was impressed with your physique, or
No,
Oh.
she was like, "Oh wow," as if she had a lot of work to do.
Oh, really?
And turns out your boy's like a size my legs fit into something like a size 40, I don't even know, 47 or 48 waist. It was crazy.
Unfitted trousers now. So
yeah, so
40-inch waist.
no, 47 to 48.
Whoa, shit,
yeah,
really?
yeah.
Oh, right.
She's like, mate, she's like, your legs, she said, they're about a size 47, around about there. And I was like, yeah, I just, so anyway, I had to have the waist basically taken in.
Yeah.
On a size 46, 47, something like that. Crazy. I've just got a bad shape, mate, for tuxes, suits. So I have to get it fitted. Anyway,
I think that's the nature, though, isn't it? If you just train at all, it's like, I'm by no means big. Yeah, I've put on like suit jackets before off the shelf, and they just feel tighter around my back and things.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the hell am I doing? Like, I'm not a bodybuilder.
Oh, imagine bodybuilders.
Yeah. So I just think certain, I don't know, clothing and stuff like that is just, not necessarily, if you train in any way and, you're going to feel some things are just going to feel a bit uncomfortable on you.
Yeah.
But I think
it's
a trade-off anyone should accept.
The chest as well. So I have problems with the quads and my chest and like underneath my armpits there too. Because if I get like really tight, like if I sit down and my trousers are too tight, it's game over, mate.
What, ripping?
I'm ripping up the middle, So I've heard that before, and I just don't know, don't want to play that game.
Yeah.
For the wedding. So we'll have to get that sorted out. Actually, anyway, delayed gratification on nutrition, because that's an interesting one to touch on because. Well, first of all, what do you even mean by that, delayed gratification with nutrition? Like, what does that concept mean?
So, I just think of delayed gratification as being able to put off or be controlled, say no to something you want in the moment for what you want, maybe in the longer term. Whether that be later on in the day, or if you're looking longer term, maybe something you want to get in a couple of months' time or whatever.
Right, because you just give me this cookie, and I just took 2 hefty bites.
Yeah.
Let's not lie to the people, right? They weren't nibbles, they were hefty bites.
Yeah.
And they would just pour away, and we were chatting about how you were going to do that poll, weren't you? What was the poll again?
So last night I was just eating some chocolate, I don't know, later on in the evening. After dinner, just fancied something sweet and ate some chocolate. I like to keep chocolate in the fridge. I know that probably puts some people off, but I like chocolate cold anyway. Keep it in the fridge, took a few squares, don't know, just ate it and then just put the rest of the bar back in the fridge. And I can remember someone saying to me years ago, if someone can eat a few squares of chocolate and not finish the bar off, then they're probably a psychopath. So I was just going to put a poll on my story. Being able to eat some of the chocolate bar or whatever it be, the cake, and put it away, is that sign of self-control, self-discipline, or tendencies of a psychopath?
Well, I think it's a sign of that you have a good relationship with food, because it shows that you do not over-restrict as a part of your lifestyle. Because if you're over-restricting as a part of your lifestyle, typically, then those are the types of people that will just then have an absolute binge fest on that food or overeat on that food, And there's obviously other types of people that will just overeat anyway on those foods just because they have poor habits. But there's certainly a population out there that can't put the chocolate bar down because they just eat like a cat.
Taste of it,
for the rest of the week. Just tuna and rice like I used to eat. And I was talking about that with my Fajita Fridays. We were talking. I put up a post earlier this week, and my Fajita Fridays, mate, I've probably talked about on you a couple of times now. But 6 fajitas, like
chips with it as well, Doritos or whatever, wasn't it? Like crisps and stuff?
So a bag of crisps. We used to have oven chips on the side, a bowl of
Oh, I
oven
remember you saying
chips.
those because I can remember you telling me actually when we were in the gym that it was, were they some like rustic ones or something like that?
They had to be a specific one, and they were the McCain's rustic ones. I wouldn't settle for anything else. Don't get me wrong, they were really good. But so I used to have the rustic ones, and so the chips. I had a bowl of chips. I had a full bag of Doritos. I had 6 wraps that were filled with lathered in sour cream and chive, tomato sauce on top, a salsa. 6 of them, probably looking, I would say.
And they're the full size wraps now. We're talking. Or not?
No, they're probably in between.
Ones.
They're probably small. So you're probably looking, I would say, 350 to 400 a wrap. You know, so what's that already there? That's 4 times 6. That's 2,400 calories probably there.
Before
before smashing the wraps,
stuff and the chips and stuff.
The chips, you're probably looking at another 300. You know, the Doritos, another probably 300. Right. I used to. Where else was it?
Didn't you do cookies and milk or something?
Yeah. So then after, I used to have a big bag of cookies.
Yeah.
Smash them down me. So you're probably looking at another 600 calories.
Easy.
Probably.
Yeah.
Easy.
God, yeah.
So I'm probably looking at, like, in one evening, 3,600 calories to 4,000 maybe. You know, which is a lot in one meal.
Yeah,
that's insane.
Yeah.
That's insane. Right. And the reason I used to do that was because, I used to eat tuna and rice like through Monday to Thursday, like a psychopath.
It's a great point. Go on. Yeah, go on. Carry on.
No,
Come on. No, go on. Finish off. Well, just jog my memory or something.
All right. Okay. Well, so eat tuna and rice. So I used to get the Uncle Ben's rice, whack her in a bowl. Then I used to get a tin of tuna, put that in, mix it all up. That was my meal.
Yeah.
And I used to have that, for lunch. Then for dinner, I used to have like almost like a chili kind of thing with rice. So I used to whack that down me. For breakfast, I'd have not much. I was probably consuming about 2,000 calories, a day.
Yeah.
And then just absolutely hammering myself on a Friday. And probably, across the week, I was still in a deficit more than likely because I was creating 1,000 calorie, because I got, when I had those pictures done, I was at 750 calories a day. So I was only a couple hundred calories under my maintenance with 3,000. So I can drop body fat if I want pretty comfortably, But so I was like pretty lean, even leaner than now, back then. But my relationship with food, mate, was fucked.
Terrible.
Fucked, and there's a lot of people out there like that, if you're overeating on a certain food, or you can't put a chocolate bar down, or you feel like, I've got to eat the entire thing. Well, I'm not saying that you do, but there is a big red flag that maybe you have disordered eating, habits for sure, But anyway, what were you going to say?
No, well, like touching on that bit, that's the thing with just introducing, as some people say, you're being accepting of people eating processed food and you're encouraging that. I'm not encouraging that. But when someone has a tendency to overconsume on something that they maybe shut away, so it's a stress day or whatever, and then they all of a sudden they're digging into the chocolate and they can't stop, or whatever it be, is just to include that regularly into your diet. And it just takes away that hedonic response where you feel the urge to just overconsume, because all of a sudden it just becomes food. It's no different to just Christ, I remember doing it with things like bread. I would cut bread out of my diet for a number of weeks, and then all of a sudden you've ended the diet or whatever, or you're having a day off the diet and you just can't control it. You're eating, you stood there with the butter and you're slicing away tons of bread and smashing it down. So,
how many slices do you used to go for?
I can remember once when I was working in Cardiff and got home later in the evening after training clients, and I can't remember what I was making. I think I had chili in the house, and I think I was putting that in, and I was cooking up some potatoes to have with it or something. And anyway, I had this loaf of bread there, and I was like, I'll just have one slice. And all of a sudden I was like, oh, fuck, this is good. And then I think...
dipping her in?
No, just spreading butter on it.
Jim's just got a secret Hovis tattoo on his chest.
I think I was probably at least 5 slices deep, and then I'm like, I don't really want my tea now. I'm not really hungry.
Just smashed off a loaf
Just
of
because the bread has got the better of me, because it's like, it's almost that thing that is like, it's out of bounds. Like, you know, it felt like I shouldn't be doing this, so I'll do it now, and then I'll get back to my good ways tomorrow, because I shouldn't be doing this. This is a bad thing. And that's what people associate with food. It's like, oh, bad food, shouldn't be doing it, so I'll do it now, and then I'll start afresh tomorrow.
Right.
And when you just realize, friggin' hell, you can just have anything whenever you want. It doesn't remove the pleasure from food, because, like, you know, you and I, we both love food, don't we?
Yeah.
Go out for meals or whatever, but you just don't think about it all the time. You're not like some people are just so hardwired in with food, with like, all right, and, you know, I'm trying to get healthy, or I'm trying to get fit, I'm trying to get in shape, whatever, so I need to stop doing this, I need to stop doing that. And it just takes over your
Well,
mind.
I was speaking to someone just yesterday who we know, who was doing something that we were once a part of, and well, no, we weren't a part of, but we know them.
All right.
And he's like, yeah, mate, my relationship with food now is screwed. I can't not eat the same. I have to eat the same thing every day, basically. So he can't deviate away from the structure, because it was so drilled into him every single day.
That's what
You
you
need
do
to eat
to
this,
succeed.
and you need to eat this to succeed. Now he has massive anxiety if he doesn't eat those foods. So now he thinks every day he's got to eat those foods, which is just, you know.
I mean, been there, done that. I mean, and it's funny, because you never think of, you know, you're not going to become like that, because why would you? But then it becomes that fear of loss. You've gained something you like, be it, I don't know, maybe the person you're talking about is a fat loss oriented goal or something. And so they think, all right, A plus B equals how I look now. So if I deviate from that, I'm going to lose, you know, this, and go back to where I was uncomfortable. And all of a sudden, then you start building up, like, meals become this big event. Something I remember, one of my old clients, he dropped, I think, 4 stone of weight with me. And now he trains, Nathan, you've seen him, you know, we go climbing a lot, and now he trains just to put on muscle and get stronger now. He has a good relationship with food, and he always says that, something I told him was that not every meal needs to be a celebration. So it's just, but when you get to that point where you're so in on your nutrition, and you're so restrictive, when you are having a meal out, then all of a sudden you build it up into this big event, and everything's got to be right, you know. I used to do it myself. I would be a bit like you, Monday to Friday, everything was strict, and then one meal on the Saturday or the Sunday, and the frigging down to everything, down to the cutlery I used, the temperature of the food, everything had to be spot on. Because it was almost like, right, well, after this, I'm going back to where I don't enjoy being, so I need to really make the most of it.
Wow.
And yeah, and it's just how you know, when you get over that, it's almost like the frigging clouds shift, and you're like, Christ, I can enjoy eating
relax.
food.
You can relax.
And you can then, and that's when the thing, like back then, my training used to be fucked, because all I used to do was go in the gym and burn calories and feel like I needed to suffer in the gym, leave the gym crawling out. Otherwise, I hadn't done enough. And now I talked about this the other day. A lot of my training in the gym is low volume, just trying to get stronger. And then I sprint and do things. And I actually get to enjoy what I do now and make myself a physically better, able human being. Because my nutrition isn't
taking holding
over.
you back.
Yeah,
And that's it. It's like these people, they'll just like starve themselves throughout the week, and what training they do is all defensive in terms of like they're never on the attack with their training.
Yeah, great point.
You know, so that they're always trying to burn more, or trying to absolutely blast themselves with cardio, or doing a bunch of volume in their training to burn fat, which, by the way, training is a really poor way for fat loss, in my opinion.
Yeah,
you know?
It is.
So they're burning candles at both. They're burning the candle at both ends, and they're never on the offense with their training. They're never on the attack, right? Like their brain is wired in this way because they've been told awful information by coaches, awful. And this dude I was speaking to, he wouldn't trust another coach now, because of the experience that he's had, you know. And I'm just like, Man, this is just such a shame because there's coaches out here that are brilliant, people that can help you, support you, that care about you, but it just damages people's faith in coaches because they've had this idiot telling them that they can only eat this amount of food a day, or they have to follow this strict guideline and plan or meal plan that they've given them, which, by the way, I don't think legally they're allowed to do and qualified to do. But yet coaches just continue to provide people with meal plans, you know. It just screws me, mate. It does my head in because there's people obviously like us that really care about helping people, and they just can't. They can't bring themselves to trust a coach anymore, you know, because of that. And it's unfortunate. It's really unfortunate, you know. And with my training now, like I'm doing everything that I possibly can to be on the attack with my training, right? So I'm trying to get enough sleep every single night. I'm trying to make sure that my mind is in a good place. Because if I'm like stressed out every day, I'm telling you, I'm not going to squat the weights I'm squatting. It's not going to happen. I'm also making sure that I'm eating enough calories and protein, and no longer am I eating the equivalent calories of my dog. You know, I'm actually fueling myself properly, because if I don't, and again, I'm not going to be able to make progress in the gym. And when you essentially, if you can relate to this and you're listening to this, and we're maybe touching on a nerve, or you know, you can relate to what we're speaking about. Essentially, you need to rewire how you look at this, right? Like you need to. It's almost the opposite approach, which you've never tried before. And it will be uncomfortable to eat more calories and to try and think a bit more about habits rather than rigid, you know, rules that you've been set. But it will set you up long term, 100%, because we've both been there. You know, I think you a bit more with nutrition than me, obviously, but I certainly am being in a good place with nutrition. You know, with my fajita Fridays. Damn, son. No. I ate enough for a small village that day.
Yeah, you must have felt stuffed going to bed that night.
Oh, man. I would lie on my belly and just feel sick. Like if you pressed in my belly, a fajita would slowly come out of my mouth.
It's funny, isn't it? Because like you obviously did this for, I don't know how long you did it for, but obviously a sustained period of time.
Yeah.
I used to do a very similar thing, like binge eat like mad on the weekends, and I lie there then going to bed in the night and knowing that, all right, tomorrow it's back to like, you know, the healthy eating, the restriction, all that, and I think I'm not doing this again next weekend. I feel like absolute shit,
right?
But then all you're doing by Monday, you're going back into that. You're just gradually increasing your level of suffering, so that when the weekend comes along again, you're like, God, I need that release. I need to eat all this food, and I need to go mad because it's not coming again until next week.
It's fucked, isn't it?
But that's the other thing, is that people feel to get a result, they need to suffer. And it's like, you know, you can be fit, strong, healthy, and enjoy life. And it can be a part of your life that you look forward to going to the gym. You look forward to training. You look forward to just like, you know, eating a meal that's nutritious, and you look forward to going out for dinner with your friends or your family without it being a stress. And it doesn't need to be this like, I'm going to suffer for 10 weeks, 12 weeks, and then, no, I look great, and then who knows what happens afterwards.
Well, that's a big part of the reason I call my business Pursue Performance, because performance is the key word there. Like we will obviously want to get people stronger, improve people's technique and confidence as well in the gym, right? Those are the big three things for me. And the performance would really encapsulate those three things, because in the industry today, everybody is lacking performance.
Yeah.
Right? Well, most people are lacking performance. They starve themselves, you know, and when you starve yourself and you're constantly battering yourself in the gym, doing endless amounts of cardio, which you don't need to do, how are you going to perform at your best in terms of your physical ability? Well, I'll tell you, like dog shit, because that's been me, you know. And when I was doing that cut ages ago, man, I've told that story plenty of times about how I was considering how should I walk 10 meters to do my superset on cable flies?
Yeah.
I had that conversation with myself. 10 meters I had to walk. And I thought, I can't get up off my chair to walk 10 meters. That's how bad I felt. So your performance is awful, right? Along with that as well, how are you going to be if you're in a relationship with someone? You know, your performance as a part of that relationship, being there, because we all, if you've been in a relationship for a long enough time, love is great and love's a big part of it, of course. But it takes more than love to be in a relationship. It takes work to be in a relationship. And if you're not willing to put that work in because you're too concerned with how many veins you got on your abs, then you're not going to be your best performer, right? You're not going to be able to be your best self in that relationship. I've seen relationships deteriorate because people are more concerned with getting to a single-digit body fat percentage than they are investing that time into the relationship. And fair enough if you care about that more, but I'm telling you, not a lot of people are going to be willing to put up with your shit.
Yeah.
And there's a reason physique athletes are with physique athletes, because they're the only ones who can tolerate them.
Same sort of breed.
It's the same breed. So, listen, you know, you can have it all. You really can. You can, as you put it, you can be strong, healthy, you know, mobile. You can be fit, cardiovascular. You can have great relationships, not feel like you have to eat the same thing over and over again, you know, 7 days a week. You can have it all. But it's about changing that perspective, you know. Anyway, I don't know what we were going to call this one. That it was a really important one. Really important because it's relatable, mate, and we've experienced it.
Yeah,
you know, talking to people, and I know this is how a lot of people think today. You know, forget about training and using your training for fat loss. Start using your training to be a more capable human being, you know?
That's it. So when the light bulb goes off, you're like, fuck, why didn't I do this sooner? That's the problem.
Oh, man, honestly. I've been there, though, done that, got the T-shirt, you know?
Yeah.
And, got me nowhere, put it that way. You know, doing all those different, like bunch of volume and cable
giant
flies, giant sets. You know, and as well, like, you know, all the machines and stuff that people use. I was thinking the other day about machines. Can I honestly say leg extensions have got my legs bigger over the years doing them? No.
Using more load and getting progressively stronger.
Yeah. You know, people say about my quads and stuff like that. My quads, 100% have come from squats. 100%. I'm progressively loading them over time.
Well, I said to you this the other day, didn't I, about when you were like super lean for that photo shoot, which was like a number of years back. I said it'd be interesting to see how much more muscle mass you have now.
Yeah.
If you could just like morph yourself into that for a day and just see how much more muscle mass you have, because obviously you're moving a shit ton more weight than you were back then, aren't you?
Oh, it'd be interesting to see. Yeah, it would be. I've got a lot more muscle mass on me now compared to back then. But yeah, you know, I personally don't think, and again, we won't go off on this tangent, but I've got a theory about machines and free weights, which isn't a popular one. And I'm, you know, me, I don't give a fuck. I'll talk about my mind on it, but I actually think machines provide such a low systemic stress that they're not actually useful. I genuinely, and dumbbells and all of that sort of stuff. Of course, they provide in some type of stress to the body, inevitably, right? But the systemic stress that you get from that sheer weight, you know, in terms of muscle building specifically now, that's all I'm referring to. The mechanical tension, you just can't replicate that with anything else. You really can't. I have done grueling sets, mate, on leg press, grueling sets on leg extensions. Can I say they've got my quads bigger? Hand on heart. Done it, you know, for 5+ years. I can't. I honestly can't. They didn't get my legs bigger.
Yeah.
Squats got my legs bigger, you know. And I see over and over again, you know, people in the gym who, like, I'm training, and they say, Sam, I spent so long in that bodybuilding room, you know, trying to get my quads bigger.
Yeah.
And then nothing worked. And then they come in do squats with me, and you know they get their squat up to 50 kilos or so in a few months, and like their shorts are now too tight for them.
Fitted. Yeah.
I've seen that so many times, but yeah. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked there, and I. Anyway, should we do anything you want to add on to that delayed gratification one? No. Right. Let's get into what's new this week then. So I answered this one before. I want to answer it again because I've changed my mind actually a little bit on this. So, hey guys, athlete here. How strong is strong enough? What's your thoughts? So remember, it was ages ago.
You went over your strength standards.
Yes, I went over my strength standards. I'm writing this book at the moment, and the good thing about writing a book is that you're constantly questioning yourself. Like constantly, you're having a back and forth. You're questioning your own beliefs. I had a conversation with a dude in. Well, actually, no. Shout out to Jolt, because Jolt's more than a dude. He's one of my mates. He's a legend, mate, Jolt, and he listens to this podcast too. I know he does, and I'm training Jolt, and yeah, he's the best. But like, can you hear that rain?
I know, yeah, I know. I've been here for the last few minutes, yeah.
Anyway, he asked me a question about like, I think he was listening to the podcast about the strength standards and stuff like that. He's like, okay, where'd you kind of get that from then? And then I went home the other day and I was like, well, I've just been told this, over the years. So I start thinking about it a lot more, and I realised that there is no limit to how strong you should be. Okay. And the reason as to why this is because there are many factors that go into, like, for instance, your age, right? That plays a massive role in how strong you should be. Your genetics, your lifestyle, right? How much you can actually tailor this to your lifestyle. A bunch of factors. And so having these standards really is just arbitrary. You don't really need them, And so all you're doing is by saying to someone, look, just get to a double body weight as a gold standard squat. Well, you might be artificially limiting someone. And at the same token, you might actually be overreaching for someone who might not be in that position. And so there's nothing inherently wrong with being an athlete and adding weight to the bar. There's nothing inherently wrong with the weight in it of itself. And people say the more weight you lift, the more dangerous it is. Well, everything has a danger component to it, but it's the reason people get hurt is not because of the weight. It's because they're unable to recover from the weight that they're lifting. So it's more of a recovery problem than a lifting problem. Does that make sense?
Load management.
Load management. And if you're doing it correctly as an athlete, you should be prolonging the progression rate the stronger that you become. So, for instance, with me at the moment, if I was to go back playing rugby or boxing or whatever it is, well, I might just make sure I break a PR every 6 months, say, right? And then once I can't do that anymore, maybe it's across a year, that I break a PR. And if you're managing the progression rates properly and you're managing stuff outside the gym, it's going to take up no room for you to do power work or your speed work or whatever it might be, because you've got a properly managed program. Because that's the argument, isn't it? People say, well, it takes away from me being able to do speed or other stuff. No, it doesn't. Not if you're doing a proper program. You should be able to do it all in the program. But the problem is that you can't recover because you're progressing the weight too quickly. But the goal should always be to get stronger. So I wanted to touch on that because I thought that was a pretty interesting point.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
It's like myself, for example, with my squat doesn't fly up at all.
Right.
If I was strictly a power lifter, then I'd be furious, but my goal isn't literally in the gym to move as much weight as possible.
Right.
Like my goal is to get my lower body stronger to assist and keep myself durable to be able to do the things outside of the gym.
Yeah.
So I progress the weight when I feel I can.
Yeah.
But I'm not also beating myself up if I don't.
Right.
I'm more I'm more concerned about seeing my GPS numbers when I run sprints than I am on the weight
sure.
on the bar in the gym.
But ultimately for you, the goal long term is to always get stronger, isn't it?
Of course.
Yeah, and that's it, right? Is that because there's people out there that think, oh, I've hit this standard now. Now
There's
I just need to
nowhere else to
maintain.
go. Yeah, all right.
Yeah, I just need to maintain. No, and I'm not going to keep adding weight to the.
But where's the fun in that?
Yeah, that's
You know?
a good point.
Yeah.
Where's the fun in that? And also, as well as from an athlete perspective, I hate to break it to you, but if you're in the ring or on the pitch or doing whatever you are, you're already playing with fire, right? You're already doing stuff that is dangerous. There's a danger component to anything that you do. And if your mindset is, I want to maintain, well, I'm telling you, as an athlete, I always want to think I'm progressing. I always want to know I'm progressing. And if you're not willing to understand, because we say, oh, what's the point in adding 2.5 kilograms for that amount of fatigue? Well, the fatigue part's sorted because you're prolonging that progression rate anyway. And you're doing your recovery on the side too. And 2.5 kilograms is progress. You know, like that's not just like, it's still 2.5 kilograms, you know? So it's a misunderstanding of basic physiology. Like the goal should always be to get stronger, to improve. I'm not saying that's the only metric of your performance you should be considering. It's other stuff as well, like speed and all that other work. But you're missing the point. If you're one of these people saying, oh, it's not worth the extra 2.5 kilograms, the risk to reward. Well, you're settling then. Why are you doing this? Why are you in the gym? Because the point of being in the gym is to get better. You know, and strength is a big part of that. That 2.5 kilograms you don't think is worth it? Trust me, that's the point why you're in here. The point is that 2.5 kilograms, you know? So anyway, yeah, I wanted to touch on that because that's, I thought, a pretty interesting
Yeah,
one.
definitely.
Do you want to do one more or do you want to call it there and get into the next one?
Yeah, get into the next one, is it?
Get into the next one. That was quite a long one.
Yeah, that's probably, yeah.
Yeah, anyway, guys, do you want to do it?
Well, yeah, I'm doing this. Yeah, I'm taking the power.
Don't
I'm
give me
taking
the
the power.
finger. You went, whoa.
I'm taking the power. Because you did that to me last time. So,
oh, right, okay.
yeah, I'm
fair
the
enough.
alpha male here. So
All right,
I am
the
taking
alpha.
control. Yeah.
All right, so
Get back in your box, son.
I get back in my box, right? Okay.
All right,
I'll get back
guys,
in my
if
box.
you've enjoyed this episode, please leave a rating and review and subscribe on Spotify and iTunes, and we'll catch you in the next one. Boom.
There we go, mate. There we go.